Welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. The 3 keys to your success is just moments away. Here's your host, Brian Kelly.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. Thanks so much for joining us. Hey, I'm your host, Brian Kelly, and we have an amazing show for you tonight. We have one of the most gifted and talented individuals I've met in a very, very long time, and I cannot wait to dig deep, to pull out that immense amount of value that this gentleman has, and he is ready. He is ready to give you everything he has got. We've had a great talk offline just before the show. Can't wait for you to meet him. His name is Ken Spohn. In just a moment. Now, for those of you that haven't seen this show, or maybe you forgot, what is the Mind Body Business Show all about? And it's really about those 3 things. It's the mind, it's the body, and it's about the business. And what that came from was, in my now 54 years on this earth, I have gone through a lot of experiences with successful people and unsuccessful people. And one of the things I learned to do was focus on just those who are successful and learn from them. And over those years, I started learning and noticing certain patterns develop, that every single successful person I met was crushing it in 3 main areas. And you might be able to guess what those 3 are. Mindset is what that really stands for. Having a rock solid, positive mindset. Yes, consciously and subconsciously. And I know for some of you might be going, whoa, that's a little woo-woo, Brian. Let's not go stepping over. I was the same way, to be honest, until I learned at a very deep level a fascinating science called the science of excellence. Some call it the science of success, otherwise known as neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP for short. And we're not going to go into that at length at this moment. And that's something I would encourage you to look up on your own time. And we'll talk about it a little bit maybe as we go through the books. Body, what is that? Well, that is taking care of your body. Your body is your temple. It's all you have. That's all you're going to have for this life here on this earth. And so why not take the best care of it that you know how? And that is through, yes, exercise. I know it's like a long 4-letter word for some of you. Exercise. Also, eating clean, eating nutrition, eating what we were designed to eat, not what humans have created to eat. Kind of interesting how that comes into play. So the mind and the body, once you have your mind reprogrammed for yourself to serve yourself better in a positive manner going forward, overcoming hesitation, limiting beliefs from a programmed subconscious level, then you are operating at a peak level of performance in your mind. And then in body, if you're exercising on a regular basis, if you're eating clean and you're treating your body well, you're getting sleep, you're drinking lots of water, all of the things that go into that, then you are also operating at a peak level of performance on the body. And I like to say that the mind and body are a team. They are. And more importantly, the mind and body are your team. Now think about this. I like to use basketball because it's currently going on right now as an analogy. Normally there are 5 players on the court playing per team at any given time. So you have a team of 5 players. Well, there's a summer and then there's the season. So during the summer is off season, and that's when players can choose to either stay in shape or not. Let's say one of those 5 decided, I'm going to take the summer off. I'm just going to kick back. I'm going to enjoy life. I'm going to go party a lot, drink, and really trash my body. And I'm being overly, just for example here. And let's say then they start the season and all 5 of them take the court. The other 4, they're operating at peak level of performance. They took care of their mind. They took care of their body. They took care of what they needed to take care of. They start to play the game. Only one team member wasn't operating at a peak level. What happens to the team as a whole because of one team member's lack of attention to operating at a peak level of performance himself? That's right, the entire team suffers. So if you think that, well, I'm taking care of my body, so I can do whatever. I don't need to go through all this positive thinking and reprogramming my subconscious brain stuff. And then, okay, well then your team is suffering. Conversely, if you've done all the mind work and you're still doing it and you're keeping your mind in a positive state, yet you're letting your body go, this is very common amongst entrepreneurs, successful and unsuccessful, I must say, at certain points in their journeys, is that's letting their health go. And if that's the case, but your mind, I'm okay with the mind, I don't really need to take care of my body. Again, the team is suffering. But there's a third element to this, and that's business, right? Business. It's on the screen. You see it. Business. What is that? Well, that's made of multifaceted areas like sales, marketing, team building, scaling, getting mentorship and coaching, which we're going to talk about tonight. I'm excited about that. And mastering each of those subcategories of business. Too often, entrepreneurs only concentrate on number 3, business. So I like to talk about it as like the tripod. It's the 3 pillars of success. If you have a tripod, you have 3 legs going up. I don't know how to do that with my hand. There we go, 3. And you have a camera, say, or something mounted on the top. You have 3 legs, and you knock one leg away. What happens to the tripod? It comes crashing down, doesn't it? So it's important for you to continually work at mastering all 3 of these major components. And that is what this show is all about. It's bringing on guest experts, people that are absolute, the top in their game, like our guest Ken Spohn, who you're going to meet in just a moment, that help you to get to that level of peak performance faster. All you need to do is copy, model, mimic. And this gentleman, Ken, is here for that very purpose, for you to do exactly as he does and achieve the level of success he has achieved. Isn't that cool? All you have to do is copy him. So let's get moving into that in just a moment. You see a bunch of books behind me. If you're watching this, if you're listening to it, imagine there's a bookshelf behind me with lots of books. And on that bookshelf, there are an amazing array of books. And one thing I learned many years ago, actually, I was flown out to a gentleman. I was going for a business deal. I was flown out to the East Coast, picked up in a limo. It was a phenomenal experience. Spent 2 days in this gentleman's office, corner office, CEO, owner of the company, multimillionaire. We hashed out a deal. It was going great. And at one point during the conversation, I'm sitting in his couch in an office. So it's a very large, nice, plush office. And he looked at me at one point. He says, Brian, you know, if people just did this one thing, if they just did this one thing, you know what? They would all be rich. And he kind of paused, and I'm like, okay, what is it? You know, the anticipation was just killing me. And he turned around coyly, walked back to the back wall behind, straight in front of me, sitting on the couch. And from there was a cabinet, floor to ceiling, large cabinet with 2 monster doors. And he reached back, grabbed both handles, and spread the doors open apart. And inside, what it revealed, it was very similar to what you see behind me, was shelf after shelf after shelf of books. And we're not talking just fiction books. And by the way, fiction, it's okay to read that for relaxation. Don't get me wrong, please. What he had in his office were business-related books, self-help, self-development, mental development, finance books, anything and everything that had to do with improving your business, his mind, his health, his body. Everything was in that bookshelf. And I made a huge mistake at that moment. And that mistake was I fully, completely, utterly discounted his advice. In fact, I did not read a single book for literally years after receiving that basically life-altering advice. And why do I say life-altering? Brian, you haven't read any books. Well, it changed. It got better. Thankfully, many years later, I met another gentleman who became my mentor. We ended up working together for several years. I spoke from his stage, helped to train his programs from stage. And I noticed one morning as we were getting ready for the event, I saw him walking around with headphones on, just walking around. And I'm like, hey, man, what are you doing? He goes, I'm listening to a book. I said, what? You're listening to a book? He says, yeah. I said, tell me about that. So he did. And I learned that you could listen to books through an app called Audible. Now, this goes back a few years, so it was sort of a new thing. And I was like, man, that sounds cool. Let me try that. Because I really didn't like reading. Reading a physical book with my eyes would get strained quickly. I'd get tired, and I didn't want to do it anymore. It was not pleasurable for me. I put on a headset, got Audible, downloaded my first book, said, this is it. This is the Holy Grail. Okay, I love reading now. And so it was a beautiful thing. I started reading all these books that had been recommended over the years. I took notes, kept them with me, and started downloading books and started reading voraciously. I mean, I could not get enough. And the cool thing is with Audible, they have this little icon, and it looks like a ribbon. And on your phone, and it's very prominent, nice and large, while you're listening, if something really rings true and you want to store that as a bookmark, you just tap it, and instantly it saves that spot right in the audio program. And so what you can do, I learned, wow, there's a new strategy. Bookmark all the very high interest areas, and now I don't have to reread an entire book. I can just go straight to the bookmarks for review. Wow, I'm going to save time and be efficient. This is phenomenal. And then I thought, wow, I can actually access these online through a web browser if I want to. The same exact bookmarks I did on my very phone. And so that's what I want to do, is treat you all right now to one such bookmark. I have many, and what I try to do is bring in bookmarks to the show that have some correlation or relationship with the guest speaker, in this case Ken Spohn. So what I want to do is segue over into a new segment that I appropriately call bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
Yes, there you see it. Reachyourpeaklibrary.com. Now, for those of you watching or even listening, just take notes. Get out a sheet of paper or a pad of paper, in the case of listening to Ken Spohn tonight, and take notes. Take a lot of notes. Write as fast and as furious as you can, including when we bring up a resource like a website, write the URL down and just resist the temptation to go heading over there to check it out. And that's my tip for you, is to be in the moment and focus on now, because now is where the value is. And so Reach Your Peak Library, that is just a website that I put together and I compiled. Really, I kid you not, for you, my fellow entrepreneurs and business people, and even those that are aspiring to be entrepreneurs. Because what I found through reading a lot of books was I found some very highly valuable books, also some duds. And so I compiled a list of only those that had a great impact on me personally. On this site, you'll see and hear my entire story that I just talked about with the CEO. It goes a little bit longer than what I just did, followed by an array of 40 plus books. I'm a little behind in adding to the site, but I'll just let it scroll for a little bit here, and you'll see that these are books that I personally vet. I have read each and every one of these. You'll see some comments beneath each. Some are personal, some are I just copied and pasted straight from Audible directly. And those are there for you to save some time. If you haven't read all the books on this list, maybe none of them, just pick one. Look at a title, read the description. The first one that jumps out, that's the one you want to read. Don't go any farther. Don't waste time. Get efficient. Work smart. And so what we're going to do is take one such book that I recently read called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. This is an amazing, amazing gentleman who has held many workshops and seminars over the years. And I got to meet in person, and some of you got to meet him as well on this very show, one of his right-hand men that helped him build the business in the very beginning days. His name was Jeff Fagan, is Jeff Fagan. So what I want to do is play a snippet. It's about a couple minutes in length. I want you to sit back intently with your notepad and your pen in hand and take notes, and then we'll come back and introduce the man of the hour, Ken Spohn. So here we go. Have a listen. Listen closely.
Then, as luck would have it, I got some advice from an extremely rich friend of my father's. He was at my parents' house playing cards with the boys, and in passing saw me. This was the third time I'd moved back home, and I was living in the lower level suite, otherwise known as the basement. I suppose my dad had complained to him of my woeful existence, because when he saw me, he had the sympathy in his eyes usually reserved for the bereaved at a funeral. He said, "Harv, I started in the same way as you, a complete disaster." He went on and said, "But then I got some advice that changed my life, and I'd like to pass it on to you." He said, "If you're not doing as well as you'd like, all that means is that there's something you don't know." Well, being a brash young man at the time, I thought I knew pretty well everything, but alas, my bank account said something very, very different. So I finally began to listen. My father's friend continued, "Did you know that most rich people think in very similar ways?" I said, "No, I never really considered that." To which he replied, "It's not an exact science, but for the most part, rich people think a certain way, and poor people think a completely different way, and those ways of thinking determine their actions and therefore determine their results." He went on, Harv, if you thought the way rich people do and did what rich people do you believe you could become rich too? Well, nothing else was working in my life, so I figured what the heck and threw myself wholeheartedly into studying rich people and how they think.
Isn't that amazing? I love that snippet because think about that. This is absolute truth that if you change the way you think, you can change the outcome of your life. If you are not crushing it right now financially, if you just simply change the way you think to model those who are very successful, wealthy, rich, whatever you wish to achieve, you can achieve the exact same thing. That's all it takes. That is the mind in mind-body business right there in a nutshell. And then this book goes further and deeper and tells you ways to learn how to think differently, to think for success, and do it automatically. It's an amazing book. Highly recommend it. And the thing is, T. Harv Eker is like a business coach. This book is like a coach. And the beautiful thing is our guest expert is himself a business coach and a phenomenal one at that. And I can't wait for you to meet him. And, why should we wait? Why don't we just bring him on right now? Shall we? All right, let's do that.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mr. Ken Spohn. Ken, thank you so much for joining us tonight. So real quick, let's introduce Ken, give you a little bit of a background, then I'm going to let him tell you about himself in a much deeper way that you can really get the essence of this man. Ken is called or known as the Ninja Coach, and that's what his clients call him. What he does is he works with service business owners and their staff, in other words, the team, in developing their leadership, performance, accountability, and communication skills so their clients feel like they have no option but to keep coming back while creating the life and lifestyle business that they dream about. I mean, raise of hands, how many of you want that? I'm there. I'm right there. Real quick, before I jump into that, Ken, real quick, for those of you watching live, be sure to stay on to the very end because we have a phenomenal giveaway, a 5-night vacation stay at a 5-star resort in Mexico. Compliments of both of our buddies. It's a mutual friend of Ken and I's, of Jason Nast and his company called powertexting.com. So stick around to the end and we'll show you how you can win that trip. It's amazing. Jason's actually gone to one of those Mexican resorts and vetted it and said it's amazing. So you want to stick on for that. And now, Ken, my brother, that was a phenomenal opening intro bio about you. And if I may ask you to dig a little deeper for folks to get a little bit more in-depth knowledge of you, what makes you tick? So like when you get up every single morning, what is it that, when your feet hit the floor that has you so driven, so excited for the day, that keeps you positively moving forward? What motivates you to continue to do what you do on a day-to-day basis? And then, if you wouldn't mind, let us know what you're up to these days. What's your latest project?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me first. And so what is my why? Why do I get out of bed? I got to say, like I was sharing with you earlier, I got a text from somebody that I work with, and they were just like blown away, ecstatic of the results. And those kind of things that just light me up. And I look at myself as an explorer of the mind and what makes people tick, and including myself, and always looking and breaking things apart and looking at the structure of things and what's missing for the structure. So my mind is continually always looking what's missing and to make people's lives better.
And phenomenal. And we were talking earlier, and one of the things that sets you apart is you explained it, and I'll let you explain it because you'll explain it way better than I did or could. And that is, you basically said, there are business coaches out there, and then there are business coaches like me, and the difference is.
Yeah. So the difference is I coach human beings, and we all eat, we all breathe, and we all do similar things, and we think we're different, because we have different problems or different situations. And when I'm coaching people, I actually don't listen to that. I listen to what are they committed to, and then what kind of outcome do they want. So my coaching is really simple. It's in fact, I created a program called Laser Coaching, and where I broke apart the facets of human being. So we all deal with the universal truth. Like universal truth would be gravity, right? You can't deny it. It's there, and it's there for everybody. And it doesn't matter your location, how old you are, none of that matters. It's the truth. Like if you jump off a building, you're falling. It's pretty simple. And then I broke apart, the second part is what is common of human beings. Like I said earlier, we all breathe, we all eat, we all live. Our first breath when we're born is inhaling. Our last breath when we die is exhaling. And, those are common things that every human being has or has to deal with. And then the third part is the individual, and that's more about the ego and the mind and how the individual works. Like if I'm upset about something, it's not everybody's upset, it's I'm upset. So now we can just break that apart, that's very unique to them. And then we discover, why are they actually upset? And it's usually something simple.
Yeah,
I hope that explains it.
And it piques curiosity. And I remember, just talking to you moments ago off camera, that I was very intrigued by the fact that, you don't coach businesses, you coach human beings. Which, and we say this many times on this show, that business is a relationship. It is not much different than another human being, because what is running a business? It's human beings, right? And without a relationship with a customer or another business owner for joint venture partner, it's very difficult to succeed in business. And so this all makes total sense, that you get to the core of what that individual is going through, because like I said in the beginning of the show, the mind, and you're hitting on the mind like with both barrels. I love it. And the one word that really jumped out at me when you said ego, that is probably the number one cause of resistance to wealth, and it's a barrier to success more than anything I've ever encountered. And you're a coach, you do this for a living. I'd rather hear from you. Is that one of the major reasons most people are hung up?
Yeah, I would say even before that. So my program and how I start people out is the first thing we cover is language. So we all know how to talk, we all know how to speak, but the difference is we all don't know how to communicate. And what I mean by that is, if I asked 100 people what love is, I would probably get 99 different. And for most people, love is conditional. Like if somebody does X, then I love them. Or they attach it to emotion, where if they're not feeling the emotion, then that other person must not love them, or some variation of that, right? But for human beings, if you stripped away all the nonsense and the judgments and assessing and everything that goes along with human beings when they first meet, you would find that love would be present with every human being. So that's just kind of the thing, how I look at things and how I work with people in having them discover for themselves what's actually in their way is not what they think it is. And what I do is have them actually get present to their communication. So, and I've worked with people that like couples, or the husband and wife, that they said they've never even asked each other what love meant. So they're at a disconnect, and one person's always thinking, well, this person doesn't love me because they're not doing these certain actions, and the other one's thinking, well, I'm doing these actions, and it's just a disconnect because they don't communicate. And what I do in the business world is the same thing. Is people have words, and that's one of the things I teach, is how to break apart words, and then how to communicate those words in an effective way that you're getting heard. You can actually hear people. So I would say the other thing, or the other facet of that, is listening. People don't freaking listen. And they never have, and they never will. But you can actually train yourself to listen to people. And what I mean by that is to listen without judgment. So you're actually just getting what the person's communicating without being triggered, without trying to think of what you're going to say next. And yeah, so it's just, it's really pure. And that's one of the reasons I'm so effective as a coach, because I've actually trained myself to have all that shit disappear and just listen to the person.
That's awesome that you mentioned that, communication patterns. I mean, that truly is one of the keys to not just business success, but personal success, as you are elaborating right now. There's so much that was coming up in my mind as you were elaborating on that, which was, the 5 love languages by, I forgot his first name is it Jim Gray? It's something Gray.
Something like that.
That was so on point, because I didn't know that there were 5 different ways, and there's probably even more, that we all basically interpret what love is.
Right.
And how we show love and how we accept love. And so it's so absolutely on point. And then listening. I wanted to be funny and interrupt you and say, what did you say? But I wasn't going to do that. You were on a roll. But a great book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, talks about the art of listening, and he uses a metaphor in that book with his son, and it's gold. So those of you watching, get the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People to help you communicate, or just go the short route and contact Ken, because we're going to give you that information at the end of the show so that you can, this man has been doing this for a while, and he was telling me some examples before the show, and I was pretty awestruck by the results he is getting and what the people are saying. So really excited and so blessed to have you tonight on this show.
Yeah.
And speaking of books like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, would you consider yourself to be an avid reader? And if so, what book or books, I know some read more than one, are you reading at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm like you. I wasn't an avid reader. I have dyslexia, and I can start an hour and not comprehend any of it. It just seems like a waste of time to me. But when the audio versions start coming out, I was like, oh, I could actually get into this,
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how many books I've listened to, maybe 100. But I have my favorites. And my favorite, I talk about my favorite because I think that everybody should read after before this one. And we'll get into that one in just a minute. But it's called Ching, which basically means way of the man, right? And it's a book that was written 500 years ago. It's been published second to the Bible, as many times. And I think it's converted, or what's the word you want to use? Into different languages, 145 different languages. So there's only 81, and so you can actually listen to like one verse a day or one verse a week and just take it on. Like, what does that actually mean? And one of the phrases in it is, the Tao exists in everything, but it doesn't exist. Like, you can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't feel it, you can't hear it. So, you know, it really has you thinking, if it exists in everything, how can it not be there? It doesn't exist. So it kind of has you play with your mind, but really get grounded in who human being is. And then a second book I would recommend before reading the Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich would be the Book of Five Rings. It's written by a samurai, and his name is Mati Mayoshi, and it's actually a really good book for businesses. And I believe there's a rewritten version called The Business of Five Rings, or some version of that. But I would highly recommend those two, you know, to put on your to-do list.
Fantastic. I thought you were going to continue. I'm writing notes. So I hope everyone else is writing notes. See, I got proof. I was just about to finish the last word.
You know, and then if we talk about this one, because I know you've read this one. I've seen you or heard you talk about it, right?
Yes.
You know, there's some great lessons in there, you know, and how he works with his son, and you know, that he never gives up, and his daily habits. All those play a part in your business.
And speaking of daily habits, you know, we talked about when you get out of bed, what gets you going. You mentioned, sure, feedback from clients that have crushed it because of your help. How do you maintain that without, you know, save that part of it? How do you you know, is there something you do on a regular basis that helps you to maintain that positive, productive, and successful mindset from day to day? Because let's face it, well, for a lot of us, not every single day is a day where you receive a testimonial that's glowing and get you going for that day. What keeps you going day to day?
Yeah, so one of the things I learned when I was teaching karate, so I taught karate for 13 years, and you know, I taught like 20 classes a week. But one of the things I learned is that stress plays a big part in how you feel. And I think it's really important how you start your day. So my day starts with meditation, and then you know, 10 to 15 minutes of how I'm going to create my day, because I'm like everybody else. I don't always wake up happy. I would like to wake up happy every day, but unfortunately, I don't know if I have dreams or something that I'm pissed off in the morning. But so I actually meditate first thing, and then I either listen to a book, or I listen to Dr. Wayne Dyer, or somebody that can put me in the right mindset for the rest of the day. And I usually get up at 4 o'clock, 4:30, somewhere in there. I don't have an alarm clock. And then I go to bed somewhere between 10:30 and 11 at night. But I sustain my level of work ethics all day long. I don't get tired, and it's because I eat healthy. So I don't eat processed foods. I shouldn't say that. Sunday I have cheat day, so I might have a piece of pizza or something like that. But the rest of the week is basically salads, eggs, almond milk, oats. You know, so really a pure diet and a lot of water.
That's okay. Don't worry. We'll edit out that part about Sunday. That didn't happen. I'm just playing with you. So you do far better than most people I've met as far as eating clean. So kudos to you.
You know what, Brian? I've been doing it since I started racing bikes when I was 12, BMX bikes, and I turned pro when I was 14.
Wow.
So I've been on that path most of my life.
Fantastic. And isn't that interesting how a habit that you formed earlier in your life has been sustained? Now, have you ever had times in your life where maybe periods, like weeks, maybe even months, where you kind of feel like you fell off the exercise and healthy eating wagon for a time? Yeah, he's nodding emphatically.
Yes. Yeah.
And the cool thing is, what the really cool thing is because you developed that habit earlier, you know, your subconscious and your conscious is telling you, man, I know I can feel better. I've done it before, and I know exactly how to do it. I'm going to get back into it. And that's what happens. It's a wonderful, I call it a wonderful vicious cycle that you get into, where once you develop a habit of good health and healthy eating, exercise and eating well, and you experience, give it several weeks, and you experience the amped energy you have day in and day out. You experience something like Ken getting up at 4 in the morning like a vampire and staying up late till 10:30 or 11. Gosh, I wish I could live on 6 or 5 hours of sleep. I'm not one of those people. I love that. But you could do that with energy sustained throughout your day. And once that happens, you'll never forget it, either your conscious or your subconscious, and you will come back to it. It's a habit that will not go away. Yes, there are times where we fall off that wagon. Things happen. Life gets in the way. Events. Some can be prolonged events. Some are just quick events that knock us off of it for a little bit. But you always come back to it. And so I think I know the answer to this one. But Ken, how important is physical fitness to you, but not only in your business life, but also your personal life? Where do you hold it as far as level of importance in priority with everything else that you have going on?
Yeah. It's shifted over the years. It used to be priority number one. Like, my workout came before everything. And now, so after karate, I started running. I used to run 30 to 40 miles a week. And now I have arthritis in both hips. So I can't no longer do that, but I do go for walks like half an hour to hour, almost every day.
Nice.
So it's still a priority. It's just not what it used to be.
Gotcha. Yeah. And age has a way of changing our priorities a little bit. And responsibility, it's not just age by itself, it's responsibilities. That's life. When we're younger, I maybe you can relate to this too. We're single. We have all the time in the world. We can devote every ounce of every second of every day to ourselves. Then we get a girlfriend, get married. Now we have a responsibility. Well, it's not just all about us anymore. And we want to spend time with our significant other and make them happy. Then we have kids. Then, we have this job we go to that we didn't when we were younger. And all those things kind of pile up. And it's about how do you adjust and reprioritize your life to then bring it back up near the top, if not the very top, especially when you get increased in age. And I'm talking about myself. I'm 54 right now. And it's interesting how when I was younger, you would hear about all the stories. Oh, wait till you get older. You're going to feel the creaks and pains. I'm like, I'm never going to be like you. No way. It's not going to happen to me. And, well, guess what? Genetics also have something to do with it. And so, it happens. And the cool thing is, though, you can choose how your life is going to go just by how you react to those things. Right. Case in point, I had 2 shoulders, one at a time, that were giving me fits. Found out it was very minor to clean it out surgically. And I went through many different forms of treatment before succumbing to surgery. Nothing else was working. Got lots of advice from a lot of great people. Said, you know what? Enough is enough. Let's get the surgery over with. I'll go through the 6 to 8 months of rehab. And I did it. And looking back, I'm happy. A lot of people say, Brian, don't ever do surgery. That was a dumb mistake. Hey, it's my life, my body, and I went through a lot of other things to try to make it right, and those didn't work. I just do what works and then move on, because I want to live, I want to move, I want to jump, I want to play basketball with my 24-year-old son. He comes and visits on weekends on occasion from college. My knees are showing their age through a genetic issue, and I'm now working with another fitness expert at this very moment. He's going to be the guest on the next show. I think it's the next show. Can't wait for that. And my knees feel phenomenally better, not from any supplement or anything, but from actually working out in a different way. And I can't wait to dispel those or expose all of those secrets when he comes on. But what you say is on point. Priorities change, and that's okay. The point of all that is it's okay. Just be aware of it and then reprioritize as necessary. Does that make sense? Are you on board with that, or do you have a different opinion?
I'm on board.
Okay. And if you have a different opinion, please, by all means, that won't hurt my feelings. It'll just help the audience to get the results they're looking for faster. So, it's all about collaboration and sharing, because you have different experiences than I do. You have different talents than I do. And by sharing this, people can get successful in both areas of their life much quicker. So when have you ever had in your entrepreneurial life, have you ever had something you would deem like that didn't go well, maybe a failure, a little bump in the road here and there? Yeah. And he laughs because that was meant as a joke, because yes, not only yes, but yes and yes and yes, and yes, and many times over yes. And so one of the key things about being successful, like Ken, and I'm going to ask him this very question right now, the key to that is, what have been some of your failures? Number one is to be aware of them. And what, more importantly, have you learned from them so you could adjust and move forward?
Yeah, wow. To talk about. But, here's what I'll say is what I discovered about failure is part of this. There's and we always want to succeed, but, understand there's just part of the process. You can get through it a lot quicker. So fail fast. And the other thing is, what is failure? So it's an unmet expectation. Okay, that's all it is. So you went to go do X and X didn't happen. Okay, now what? So regroup and figure out what's next. What's the next action? Because action is not going to produce the result that you want. Thinking about it, being upset about it. If we look, Brian, is you had a book in front of you, no matter how much you screamed at that book or yelled at it or thought it was the wrong, it wouldn't change the book. The book would still be the book.
Yes.
But if you wanted the book to fly, pick it up and throw it. So there's oftentimes we got so caught up in our, what went wrong, we forget about the outcome. And one of the things I teach is when people are going towards a goal, it's never like this, right? There's always bumps in the road, and what happens is they'll get distracted by a bump in the road or a roadblock, and all of a sudden that becomes the new outcome because they're trying to fix that roadblock, and they've forgotten all about what the goal really is. So that's one of the things, when I work with people is I'm always continually looking and asking and seeing if they're on track to actually produce the result that they want to produce. So it also takes them out of their head. Getting in your head about it is not going to produce the result.
Yeah, and it's so often the case, isn't it, that the only reason someone is stuck is because they're inside their own head. Yeah. And and that I've said this from stage multiple times. I learned this from my mentor, and it's a beautiful thing. Is like you have a choice, right? You can allow your circumstances to control your attitudes, or you can flip that around and have your attitudes control your circumstances. And it's everything you just talked about, which is it's not important what happens to you, which we should all reframe to say for you. It's more important how you react to that situation. And the truth of the matter is, and Ken, I'm sure you can attest, is a lot of people think the more successful one becomes, the fewer problems they have and issues that they face. It's like nothing's farther from the truth. It exemplifies, and you have more. And the key is knowing and having trained yourself to react in a productive, purposeful manner going forward. What do you think on that?
Yeah, so I work with 7 and they just have bigger problems, but it's all in our mindset, or it's all in our mind what the problem is. So the problem actually doesn't exist. It's just their perception of it. Exactly. Right? And so we can look at, we can dwell on it. We can be mad about it, upset about it. And the reality of it, that's not going to change.
Exactly. Yeah. And very eloquently stated, because we all go through challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of us through life. And I've seen so many people that want to play the blame game and point fingers outward of themselves and say, it's because of that SOB, it's because of that situation, it's because of this circumstance, rather than when they're pointing to be looking in the mirror, say, well, what part of this could I have been responsible for? And maybe I should just address what I can control and not what I cannot control. And that's a game changer right there.
Wow, that's another that I go to work on with people is taking responsibility. And see, what most people want to take, they can take responsibility for, I did that. What they're not taking responsibility for, let me give you an example. So if you and I are doing a business deal together and, it goes sour and you say, I can take responsibility that it didn't go the way it wanted to, and I can take responsibility for it didn't go the way we wanted it to. The thing people get caught up on is they don't take responsibility for all the actions that led up to that moment. This includes 5th grade, where you said, I want to be an entrepreneur someday. They don't take responsibility for that. They don't take responsibility that you actually let that person in your life. They don't take responsibility for the way their parents treated them. Because they, like you said earlier, they actually have a choice. Always have a choice. And that distinguishes us, human beings, from everything else on the planet.
Yeah, and if that's true, right? Only humans can do this kind of reasoning and thinking. And that's why we're on the top of the food chain, I personally believe. Man, it's already 10 minutes until the end of the show, and so much more I want to know from you. And I'm sure the attendees watching, thank you for the likes and loves, by the way, on Facebook. Greatly appreciate that. Hey, Craig Duswalt's in the house. John Redmond, my old high school buddy. Batista Gramo is on. She was a past guest. Mike Chavez, he's like a incredibly experienced and successful Facebook Live guy. He's been doing it for like 20 years straight, it seems. It's been more than a year, every single day. So amazing.
Before Facebook even came out.
Pardon?
Facebook even came out, he was doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, Rhonda, and she has like 5 last names. I always kid her about it. Lindblad Voss Toland. She is actually Jason Nass' partner in powertexting.com. So thanks all for coming on. Thank you for the loves and likes. I love you all back and like you all back. So Ken, back to you. We all, at least I can only imagine, to become successful as an entrepreneur, I don't know of anyone that's a human being that hasn't made some sacrifices to get there. Because in order to become a successful entrepreneur, it takes a tremendous amount of energy, effort, drive, resolve, you name it, being relentless, all of that. And typically that has to come at the expense of something else in our lives, whether that be personal, maybe other business, maybe joint venture partners, maybe our own business partners. If you were to think of a couple, maybe one that floats to the top, what would you say would be a major sacrifice you've had to make to become the successful entrepreneur that you are?
Yeah. I view that question differently when I was first starting out. I think I bought my first business when I was 24, and how I look at it now. But that, through that journey, there was a lot of sacrifices, like giving up time with my ex-wife and my stepkids in that realm, and then giving up going out with friends to, I don't know, parties or something like that, so I could get further in my business. The way I view it today is it's all the same, and it's all part of my journey. So I don't distinguish Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, any of those days. To me, they're just I get to express myself and be live. So it's just a different view. and it's more about the journey than the destination.
That's powerful right there. And knowing that, doesn't that take a lot of the pressure off of, you know, being perfect every day and achieving perfection at all times, which, you know, that's one trait of entrepreneurs. We're always trying to get it all right all at the same time, and it goes along with the drive, persistence, and all the other qualities. That can be a liberator by itself. Is enjoy the journey one day at a time. Enjoy the hiccups. Truly enjoy them, because as you grow and go through your entrepreneurial life, you're going to realize that those are actually stepping stones to success. That the more you fail, the closer you are to succeeding incredibly, because you're learning things along the way, as we've discussed earlier in the show. And so it's embrace every moment. I mean, yeah, look, we're human. We're going to get upset. We might say an expletive here or there, and then we'll realize, hey, that's a stepping stone. Thank you for blessing me with that issue. Now I know how to handle it. You know, some of us get hit with real big ones. We all do, right? We can think of those big ones that were just, at the moment, feel like they were just oppressing and crushing. And then we get through it, and we look back at it and go, after that, I can handle almost anything. Thank you for allowing that to happen to me. Now I can grow farther, faster, and not worry about those hiccups and speed bumps along the way.
Yeah, I one just popped in mind. I had let's just say a really, really big tax bill come in the mail one day. And it shocked me, but I was okay with it. And I was like, okay, I'll just work it out. But, you know, 20 years ago, I'd have been freaking out. I'd be like, oh my God, how am I going to come up with this money and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, now it's like, it'll work out.
Yeah, and you could, and you know, it's easy for me to say this in hindsight, but you could reframe that and say, gosh, how blessed am I that I made enough money to have that kind of a tax bill, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So there's, you know, and it's always about reframing. I'm constantly doing it, and I like to use this analogy. A lot of times, I will still catch myself saying, you know, hey, babe, you know, someone asked me, like my wife will say, you want to come watch a show? It's like, in a moment, I have to go do the dishes. Oh, wait a minute. Let me restate that. I get to do the dishes. Mm-hmm. And everyone's, you know, I've had a past guest, so I will never say that, never, because they hate it that much. But the point of it is to be extreme, so that, well, what could that mean? I get to do the dishes? What does that mean instead of I have to? Well, if I get to do the dishes, that means I have dishes. So that could also signify that I had food to eat of some kind. And if I have dishes, they're usually in a sink. If I have a sink, that means I have a dwelling that I'm living in. So you start, you know, very subconsciously and subtly, you're thinking of all these things, even though you don't even realize you're thinking of them. But when you say, I get to do something, it's a game changer. So that was a habit I started getting into some time ago. And to this day, I still catch myself saying, I have to do something. We don't have to do anything, ever.
I invite you to take it one step further. Do the dishes.
Yeah.
So there is no distinction between not doing the dishes and doing the dishes. Just let that sink in for a while.
Yeah, it's sinking. It's like making its way deep. So look, you can see, all of you watching, all of you listening, that Ken is not your traditional business coach, and that's a good thing. He has all of the coaching acumen of a traditional business coach. He also takes it to another level, where he goes and determines things that are happening with you in your life. He touched on it earlier, you know, looking at how are you communicating? What are you saying? What's your language telling him that needs to be addressed? Do you have ego issues that need to be addressed? How that individual is actually handling situations. And so I really invite you to reach out to him. And again, in a moment, we will give you that information very soon, actually. I just checked the clock, and we're 3 minutes away from the close of the show. And on that, I wanted to I want to ask one final question of you, if I may, Ken. And it's a really big question. It's a heavy-hitting question. It's really, sometimes it can be shocking, the answer. I've asked the question of all previous guests. And the cool thing is their responses. It's just been amazing. And I really want to ask that one final question. It's not going to be a shock or surprise to you, so I don't want you to get too nervous about it. A lot of past guests start sweating on camera, which I'm kidding. They don't literally. Yeah. But before I do that, really quick, I did promise everyone that I would allow them or show them a way that they can win a 5-night vacation stay at a 5-star luxury resort in Mexico. And that is provided by our wonderful sponsors who are both online watching it at this moment. It's Jason Nast and Rhonda Toland. They are providing this for us. Thank you so much. So what I want to do is put on the screen exactly what you need to do to put in your name into the proverbial hat to get drawn for this amazing, amazing prize. 2 ways. One is go to the website. And by the way, you can do this right now. Open up a new tab in your browser if you're watching on a computer, a desktop, or tablet. Open up a tab, keep it going so you can hear, and go in and type reachyourpeakllc.com/vacation. That's reachyourpeakllc.com/vacation. Or if you find it simpler to do this on your phone, just text the word peak, that's P-E-A-K, to the number 661-535-1624. One more time, that is, text the word peak to 661-535-1624. And just another quick shout out that either method you choose, the underlying engine, the thing that's making this all work, the technology, is powertexting.com by Jason and Rhonda. So not only are they our sponsor, but we are also a client of theirs. And it's a phenomenal, phenomenal automated system. If you're into marketing and if you're watching this show, odds are you are. Highly, highly recommend you go connect with, you see him right now in the comments, Jason W. Nast on Facebook, and connect with them and check it out. So go ahead, enter that right now, and we're going to come back with that big, hard-hitting, earth-shattering question for Ken. And just to now really let you off the hook, Ken, I want you to know that when I ask this question, there is no such thing as a wrong answer. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The only correct answer is, you probably guessed it, it's your answer. I've asked this of countless entrepreneurs on this show in the past. Thank you for the likes and loves. Oh, I love you guys. And the interesting thing is, to date, and I say this every time because I just know it's going to happen at some point, but to date, no two have answered it exactly the same way. It's very interesting. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ken Spohn, are you ready? You are ready. Okay, so Mr. Spohn, how do you define success?
Interesting question. I define it by my goals, and I'm trying to give a right answer right now, because I know. Well, here's the thing: is I know success is defined. Success is defined by communities. So there's a difference between community success and my success. So I would say that I reached an outcome, a desired outcome. I took the aligned actions and produced the result. So that's all I got. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, and I would say it's not all you got, it's everything, and because it's yours. Reach the desired outlook and took the actions to get there. And, you know, that is huge. I mean, how many people, how good does it make you feel when you have completed a task, even one of many during the day, right? And then when all those tasks accumulate and they are accumulating toward your desired outcome, whatever that goal happens to be, which is usually bigger than one task, it's an amazing feeling, isn't it? And for you, that feeling translates into the word success. And that's the beautiful thing. Success is, it's not a black and white definition. Success is what each person defines it to be. And true to form, Ken, guess what? No one else answered it that way before you either. And you know the other cool thing I like to point out, and this is also true everyone until now, and I hope that this trend continues, that the answer we never get on this show, ever, you know, let me ask you this, Ken. Is money important to you and your business to grow?
Yeah, it plays a part.
Yeah, I would say absolutely it is. And see, you're even taking it another step and proving my point that not a single guest has answered, well, you know, something like, well, when I reach my first 10 million or my first million or whatever. It's never money centric ever. Money is a vital component of everyone's business if they wish to scale and grow and serve more. And it's very important. It's just not, and we could tell just by your answer, it's not the most important. And I like to not argue, but bring up the fact that my opinion is that is the very reason people like you and I are successful, because we're not in for the quick kill. We're in actually for the opposite, for the long term, being able to help people like you are doing with your coaching business, helping people to succeed at a greater, that's what fulfills and gives us purpose. And money is important. Yes, it always is. And I don't ever want to discount that. The thing is, if it's your primary focus, all I can say to you is good luck. Not you, Ken, to everybody in general. So a serving, giving, attitude of gratitude. I mean, we've heard a lot of those through our readings, I'm sure. Man, look at the likes and loves. They're just coming in like machine guns. I love it. Keep them coming, man. Oh, I hope you're feeling that, Ken. It's we're getting a flood of it.
Feeling the love.
Yes. With Jason, Rhonda, Craig, it's been awesome. I appreciate all of you for coming on. Now I want to give, you know, there's another gift we have to give away. And by the way, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and text Peak to that number, which 661-535-1624. Go ahead and do that quickly. Ken, you had something you wanted to share with our audience. You had a gift, to be more specific. If you wouldn't mind, I'll pull it up and give you the con so you can quickly explain to the folks what you have to offer for them.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically it's a free 45-minute consultation to see if I can help you in your business. Take it to the next level. So if you're at a six-figure income earner and you want to hit that 7, that's for you. If you're at the 7, you want to hit 8, then that's for you. If you're just starting out, it may or may not be for you because you have other things to work on. So I work basically with people that already are established. And so if you go to my website or you just go to Google and type in the Ninja Coach, my website comes up. And you scroll down to the bottom, there's a free consultation for 45 minutes. And we'll, go through your business and what your goals are. And if I think I can help and we're a good match, then I'll let you know what the program's about and we can go from there.
Well, fantastic. Let's walk them through that real quick. I've got the site up on the screen and you cannot see my cursor, but there's a monstrous, I shouldn't say monstrous, a very large button from left to right that says free breakthrough strategy session. That's actually a button. So click on that big old gold bad boy. And what happens is you will see the ensuing screen just like this. I want everybody to experience this so they know what they're going to be expecting. And then under category, what should they select, Ken? Is it consultation?
Yes. And then
from there we go to service, and what would that be? Free consultation?
Free consultation, yeah.
Cool. And then coach, I think you want to choose Ken Spohn personally, but it's all right. And then from there, you just click next or type in the date on or after. I see how this works. Okay, cool. If you click in that field, you can click a date on the calendar and then a time that's best for you, and it will pull up the times that he is available to offer you that 45-minute consultation. And you can tell how laid back he is. I don't think you're going to have to worry about any hard sell tactics at the end. If there's a fit, there's a fit. And here's what I tell all of my friends, my colleagues, my clients is, you know what, if there's anything about this that feels right, if there's part of you saying, hey, this, I know I should check this out. And then there's that other part of you called resistance that is telling you, yeah, but it might cost something. And that brings up maybe some discomfort in your mind. That is your subconscious at that moment telling you to do it. go forward. Because every time we reach out and go beyond our comfort zone, that is a point of growth. The combination, the magical combination is you see something that looks right, you have a good feeling about it, you know it's going to potentially reap great rewards, but you have that little nagging other voice telling you for whatever reason that, oh, maybe I don't have the time, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, that means go. Do it. Do it right now. Go there right now. Click on another tab. Go to kenspohn.com. So it's KENSPOHN. So it's like John, but put SP where the J would go. Spohn. kenspohn.com. And then scroll down to that nice wide button, that beautiful gold button. Click on that and enter the information there. Connect with Ken. Is there another way to connect with you outside of the website? Maybe Facebook?
Yeah. Again, if they type in Ninja Coach, the Ninja Coach in Facebook, my profile will come up. I'm also my page, my Facebook page. So they can connect with me that way too.
Fantastic. And I love the Ninja Coach. That's such a cool moniker. So that's it for tonight. I appreciate everyone. I will go review the entries. If you are the winner, you will be personally notified via text through powertexting.com. Thank you once again, Jason and Rhonda, for that wonderful resource. Thank you all for watching online and listening, for those of you watching live, and for those of you that are listening and watching as a recording. Appreciate you, love you and like you, just like you have loved and liked us. And I can't wait till we meet again. Again, we do this every week, Thursday nights. We'll see you on the next Thursday night on the next edition of the Mind Body Business Show. On behalf of Mr. Ken Spohn, this is Brian Kelly saying, be blessed and have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Peace out.
Peace out. Love it.
Thank you for watching and listening. This has been the Mind Body Business Show with Brian Kelly.